So let's begin. The first question that is being asked by the students is the third question, which says we have two bodies of different masses MA and MB. They are dropped from two different heights A and B. The ratio of the time taken by the two to cover these distances. Now this is a standard question. You just simply see this is dropped. Dropped means initial speed is 0 and they are in free fall. Because they are dropped, they are now in the free fall. Acceleration is g. So whenever you drop anything from some height, let's say with initial speed 0, as it travels, its speed increases, and you simply says if it travels a height h down from the second equation, you can directly say h is equal to half gt square. So time is root 2h by g. So for a freely falling object dropped from some height, to cover h height downwards, it takes a distance t equal to time it takes t equals to root 2h by g. So therefore the time taken t1 by t2 would be in the ratio of h1 by h2, that is the height descended, and that would be equal to a by b. So this answer would be option C. You can directly go for. Next, a mass is supported on a frictionless horizontal surface. It is attached to a string and rotates about a fixed center at some angular velocity omega naught. If the length of the string and the angular velocity both are doubled, what would be the tension if it is initially t naught? In this case, because it is on a horizontal frictionless surface, normal and mg are in vertical, they can't provide the centripetal force. The centripetal force is simply to the object is provided by this tension. So this tension will provide the necessary centripetal force, and that would be equal to m omega square r, which is basically the length. So now what you have done this, length is doubled, omega is doubled. Omega doubled, that means omega square factor becomes 4 times, length factor becomes 2 times, so the tension becomes 8 times. Go for option D. Next, a bomber plane moves horizontally with a speed of 500 meter per second, and a bomb is released from it, strikes the ground in 10 seconds. Angle measured with horizontal at which it strikes the ground. So it is something like this. You can see this is the plane, and let's say it drops the bomb and it travels in this parabolic trajectory and strikes the ground like this. So what is the angle with which it strikes? So that angle basically you say would be equal to that Vx by Vy thing. You directly can say this angle tan theta would be equal to what we can write, V, that is equal to what? This is Vy by Vx. So that is what we can write here. So Vy by Vx. Now what is Vy? Because it is dropped, it is flying at a speed of 500 meter per second and it takes 10 seconds. So because it takes 10 seconds, I can directly say Vy would be equal to Uy plus gt, and Uy is 0 because it was flying horizontally. Initial velocity was only along x. So u is ux, which is equal to 500, and because no acceleration along horizontal, Vx will be ux. So what we have, gt means 10, we can say take for simplicity 10 into 10, and ux is 500. So both the zeros cancel up and theta becomes tan inverse 1 by 5. So we can go for option A here. Next, this is a standard question. Similar question is in your NCERT in work energy chapter. Car of mass m starts from rest and accelerates so that the instantaneous powered is a p naught constant. So the instantaneous velocity will be, because power is constant, starts from rest, we can say the total work done in t time would be equal to p into t, that is equal to delta k. And because initial kinetic energy is 0, you can directly say final kinetic energy after time t is half mv square is p into t. So v square is proportional to t, or v is proportional to t to the power half. So what we have, v is proportional to t to the power half. Go for option B. And if you, this next question that comes is the displacement. So v is dx by dt. So if you integrate that, so x would be proportional to, a displacement would be proportional to t to the power 3 by 2. This is the question that is being asked in your NCERT. Next, an open knife edge of mass m is dropped from a height h onto a wooden floor. If the blade penetrates s distance into the wood, the average resistance offered by the wood to the blade. So just see, this is the knife, let's say this is a point I represent, and it starts from this height h, and let's say it penetrates till here, let's say till s, and finally the speed becomes 0. So what we can see from here to here, the total height descended is h plus s. So if I take the, I can let's say you can say knife plus earth as a system. So for this complete duration, potential energy is lost, kinetic energy initially is 0 and finally is 0. So what we can say, that W external would be equal to delta Ug plus delta K, and delta K is 0. So delta Ug it has lost, so it is minus mg h plus s. and now so definitely the resistive force would be acting upwards, and that force exerted by average resistance offered by wood, let's say if it is F, that F would be upwards. So the work done would be not F into H plus S, that is only for the distance S, so that is equal to minus Fs. So that F would be equal to mg, minus minus cancels up, H plus S by S, so we can go for this option C here. So again a standard one. Now the 10th one. A particle moves in the xy plane under the action of force F such that the value of its linear momentum at any time p x component is 2 cos t and py is 2 sin t. That means I can write p as 2 cos t I cap plus 2 sin t j cap. Now the angle between force and momentum at a given time will be, so what we can say, force you always know is equal to dp by dt. So if I do this dp by dt, cos derivative would be minus sine minus 2t sin t I cap plus 2 cos t j cap. So if you do here f dot p, also you can check up, if you do this dot product, what you will get minus 4 cos t sin t plus 4 cos t sin t, that is 0. So two non-zero vectors, dot product 0 clearly means the angle is 90 degree, both are perpendicular to each other. Next, you have an isolated particle of mass m moving in horizontal plane along the x-axis at a certain height above the ground, but because it is given along the x-axis, that height is taken as reference to be 0. Now it suddenly explodes into two pieces, m by 4, 3m by 4. At some instant later, the smaller one is at 15 centimeter, the larger fragment at this instant will be. So because it was going along the x-axis, so cm is moving only along the x-axis, its y coordinate will remain same, that means the ycm will still be 0, and ycm would be m1 y1 plus m2 y2 upon m1 plus m2, and that should be 0. So what do you have, m1 y1, so first one and the smaller one, m by 4 into plus 15 plus 3m by 4 into that y2 would be equal to 0. So y2, if you will solve, comes out as minus 5 centimeters. So go for option A in this case. Next, again this is also on concept of cm. Man weighs 80 kg standing at the center of a flat boat and he is 20 meter from the shore. So it's something like this. This is on the boat and the man is 20 meter from the shore. So let's say like this. This is the shore and here it is 20 meters away. This is the person in the initial condition. Now he walks 8 meter on the boat. So let's say let the boat be 8 meter. Let's say he walks here and this walks 8 meter. Now this 8 meter is not with respect to ground, this is with respect to the boat. So in the meantime, you all know that the boat will slightly shift back. The boat will slightly shift back, so its distance is not going to be 20 minus 8, it would be more than 12 meters. So just I need to calculate what is the displacement of the boat, by how much distance the boat shifts back. Let's say let it be d. So what we can directly say, considering system, I can take as men plus boat. If I take men plus boat as a system, I can say there is no external horizontal force. Cm was initially at rest, so it will remain at rest, so delta x of Cm would be 0. So what we can have, the mass of men, that is 80, the displacement of men we can say is displacement of men. I can write that displacement of men as displacement of men with respect to boat plus displacement of boat, and taking forward direction as positive. So delta x of men with respect to boat is plus 8, but the displacement of boat is d backward, so I write it as 8 minus d plus the boat displacement. The boat displacement would be 200 into, let's say, multiplied by minus d, that would be equal to 0. m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 is 0. So the value of d comes out as 80 into 8 divided by 280. So this is what you get, 64 by 28. If you simplify it as 16 by 7, so it is approximately 2.3 meters. So that means the boat shifts 2.3 meter backward, so its distance from the shore will not be 12, it would be 12 plus 2.3, that would be 14.3 meters. So it was a nice one. Next, now this is a very beautiful question. You are given the force acting on an object which is initially at rest. The graph showing the momentum of the object is varying during the time for which the force acts. So you know F is equal to dp by dt. You all know this. So the PT curve slope will give you the force. So force initially should be positive and increasing, and in the second part it should be positive and decreasing. So here it is positive and increasing, but here it is negative. So it is not possible. It is not possible. Here also the slope turns negative. Just remember, force is not becoming negative, it's just reducing, so slope will still be positive. So we are left with only one choice, and you can also check from the area of the curve that force dt, that will give you impulse is equal to delta p, that will also match with the given options. So the only option B is appropriate. Next one, The distance of the cm of a solid uniform cone from its vertex is z0. Just remember this, for a solid uniform cone, the center of mass from the vertex is at a height 3h by 4. So you need to remember certain things. There is no point in deriving it, you can derive them, but you have to remember this: semicircular ring, semicircular disc, hemispherical shell, solid hemisphere. You just remember the center of mass. That's advice from my side. So it would be 3h by 4. Next. A system of n particles is free from any external force. Which of the following is true for the magnitude of the total momentum? So it is free from any external force. F external 0. F external 0 clearly means dp by dt is 0. That means not necessarily momentum is 0, the rate of change of momentum is 0. So it could be 0, it could be non-zero, but whatever it would be, it will remain constant. So the momentum should remain constant. So out of the option, because it is written must be 0, I need to check all. It could be non-zero, but it must be constant. That's the most appropriate one. If it was written it may be 0, then we could have thought for it, but the most appropriate here is the second one. Next. A machine gun fires a bullet of mass 40 grams with a velocity of 1200 meter per second. The man holding it can exert a maximum force of 144 Newton. How many bullets can he fire per second? So just let's say if he fires n bullets per second, the recoiling generates a force. The thrust force you know is dp by dt, that comes out as nmv. And you have to make sure that is equal to less than 144 newtons. So n into m is 40 grams, 40 into 10 to the power minus 3, velocity is 1200. That should be less than equals to 144. So from here what you get 144, if I take that zeros, 1, 2, 3, 3 goes, this is 12, 4, 48, so it comes out as 3. So the maximum he can fire is 3 bullets, he can't fire more than 3 bullets per second. Next. Projectile of 3m mass is projected from ground with a velocity 20 root 2 at 45 degree, that means for the maximum range. At the highest point it breaks into two parts, one is 2m and the other is m. Both fly off horizontally in opposite direction. This is very important because both fly off horizontally in opposite direction and they are at the same height. That means both strikes the ground at the same time, and the time will be the time of flight of the complete projectile. So by the time cm lands, both lands simultaneously. So all three, the imaginary cm and the two particles will land the ground at the same time. 2m falls at a distance 100 meter from the point of projection, the distance of second mass from point of projection where it strikes the ground. So it's a classical case of your center of mass problems. It's a very important question that you should remember. So just try it. What we can say, let's say that you have thrown something at some speed at 45 degrees and it goes till the highest point and now it breaks. So let's say one part goes like this, the second part goes like this, but still, because what we can say, because both the parts are still in free fall, cm's acceleration previously was also g downwards, still it is g downwards, so cm will continue in that original projectile path like this. And since both fly off horizontally in opposite direction, you can directly say both will land at the same time because uy for both is 0, height is same, so they will land at the same time, and that is also the time of flight for the complete projectile. So the cm will land at the original range, that is delta x of cm. Now one of the particle you are given is landed at 100 meters, this is delta x1. Let's say the second piece lands at this distance delta x2, that you need to remember. So what I can directly say, delta x of cm is m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 over m1 plus m2, that's the formula you use. So what is delta x cm? That is range. For 45 degree you know range is maximum, that is u square by g. m1, the first piece you have is 2m I have taken, that is 2m into 100 plus m into displacement of 2, I can write delta x2 over 3m. So this m get cancelled and u square by g. U square by g, if I calculate 20 root 2 whole square, that is 800 by g, that is 10, that is 80. So 80 into 3, 240, 240 is 200 plus delta x2, which leaves you that the second piece will land at 40 meters. So the answer would be 40 meters, go for option 3. Next. A 300 gram block is dropped from a height of 60 centimeter above the top of a vertical spring whose stiffness is 120 Newton per meter. Then the maximum compression is. So just see, we covered such question in the class. I think the previous one also we covered in the class. Let's say this is a spring waiting for the block to hit. This is strikes from the height h. So at the maximum compression, you know, let's say it compresses by x max. So let's say this point is O, this point is A, this point is B. So initially it was dropped, initial speed is 0, also at maximum compression the velocity will be 0. So I can directly say I take system as spring plus block plus earth. You know, only two forces are doing work on the block, one is a spring and one is earth, both we have included, so it is the system's mechanical energy must remain conserved. So till O to B, what I can say, delta K is 0 because initial is 0, final is 0. So what I can directly say, the loss in gravitational potential energy is equal to the gain in the spring potential energy. So loss in gravitational energy is mg h naught, it is h plus x max because it has fallen h plus x max, and the spring is compressed by xm. Initially it was at in equilibrium position, so it is in the you can say unstretched position, so it is half k x max square. So it's a quadratic one we need to solve. What is the value of mg? 300 grams, that is 0.3 into 10 3. H is 0.6, 60 centimeters plus x max. K is given as 120, 120 by 2 is 60, so it is 60 x max square. Now solve it. So I can divide it like 20. So what we can have, 20 x max square minus x max minus 0.6 is 0, 20 into 0.6 is 12. So the factors won't be that tough for you. It is minus 4x max plus 3x max minus 0.6 is 0. So what we can do now, take this 4x max as common. What you will have, 5x max minus 1 plus 0.6 common, 5x max minus 1. So one value will be negative, I can reject. So the only option I can take is 1 by 5 meters or 20 centimeters. Go with option 2. Now one more question that students asked me is 29. This is again a very nice question. What you have, again such question we covered in the class. I remember, a homogeneous chain of length L hangs across the surface of a smooth peg, no friction, such that 1/3 part of the chain hangs on the left side. This is L by 3 and this is 2L by 3. Okay. If the chain is released from rest in the position shown in the figure at speed v when end A passes through the B. So actually it is A and it should be B. It should be like this, end A passes through B. Neglect the radius of the peg. So when A reaches P, what will happen? You have to neglect that small length. So what we can say here, the best thing is final photo will be something like this. It would be something like this. The complete chain now hangs here. So there are multiple approaches of doing it. One of the approach that I can directly share with you, we have to just see what is the loss in potential energy, and that would be the gain in the kinetic energy. And finally the complete chain will have same speed, so gain would be half mv square. And to write the loss in potential energy, best way is, because the chain is identical, you can imagine this 2/3 length is still here and this 1/3 length is effectively shifted here. So the cm of this 1/3 part was initially at this height and now it is at this height. Basically you can say its point of suspension is shifted 2L by 3, so it has drifted by 2L by 3. So I can directly write loss in gravitational potential energy directly as, it is 1/3 part, so mass is m by 3 into g, and its height descended is 2L by 3. So the loss you can write it as 2 mgl by 9, and using energy conservation this loss would be equal to gain in kinetic energy, so 2 mgl by 9. Kinetic energy is gained by complete chain, that is half mv square, so v comes out as root 4 gl by 9. So you can go with option T. It is 1 by 3 root of 4 gl. So this is a nice way. Another way is take this point as a reference and write the initial potential energy of both the parts and finally of the complete chain, and do that is one and the same thing. You can try it out. Next. Now this question is being done wrong by many, and people do mistakes in this because you don't pay attention when the teacher tells you how to define the potential energy. And that's also a problem. Most of the teachers themselves, I have noticed, are not very good in telling this all concepts. So first look at it. The fx versus x graph is shown in the figure. Find out potential energy at x equal to 6 मीटर. तो देखिए आपको पोटेंशियल एनर्जी निकालनी है x इक्वल टू 6 मीटर पे. आपको गिवन है पोटेंशियल एनर्जी 0 है कहाँ पे, x इक्वल टू 0 पे. तो 0 से 6 अगर आप आते हो तो आप ये एरिया देखिए, आपको सिंपल सी डेफिनेशन आती है, u final minus u initial is negative of the work done by conservative force. So here it would be minus fx dx from xi to x final. So take initial as origin and final as 6. So u at x equal to 6 minus u at x equal to 0 would be equal to minus of fx dx, work done from 0 to 6. Okay, this is taken as 0. So what is potential energy at x equal to 6? First of all, calculate this fx dx. This fx dx is area, this is positive, this is negative. If I solve it, you can see this area, I can take just trapezium as half into, this length is 3, this length is 2, so 3 plus 2 is 5 and gap is 2, so it comes out as plus 5 joules. And if I take this triangle, this is half into, this is 3 and this is 2. so it would be minus 3 joules. So what we have, total work done is plus 2 joules, but because of this minus sign, this is minus into plus 2, so the energy at x equal to 6 would be minus 2 joules. It won't be plus 2 joules, which most of the student did. It should be minus 2 joules. Just remember, it is not the work done by conservative force, it is a negative of the work done by conservative force in a change. Next, now this is a very important question. I told you even while teaching, just look at the language. Language is the key. Body is attached to the lower end of a vertical spiral spring and it is gradually lowered to its equilibrium position. Gradually lowered means you have kept it, you have kept your hand, you have not allowed it to gain speed, you have taken it very slowly, and in this case it will stretch till it come in equilibrium, so it will be equilibrium extension. So this x would be when kx manages that mg. So this x is equal to mg by k. Now if the same body is attached to the same spring and it is released, that means allowed to fall suddenly, the maximum stretching would be at the point when the kinetic energy becomes 0, and now you have to do with the energy conservation like we did in the above question. So here what you will have, let's say this was the initial position, now you get this block suspended, so this speed is 0. Now it will go till this maximum extension, let's say I'll call it as x max, and again finally the velocity will become 0. So applying again, taking the spring plus block plus earth as a system, kinetic energy change is 0, loss in potential energy, that is mg x max, would be equal to half k x max square gain in spring energy. So this x max comes out as 2 mg by k, or you can say that is twice of the x in the first case, so go with option 2. So just remember this thing, this is very important. Maximum stretching whenever asked, it means the final velocity must be 0. Here gradually means you didn't allow it to gain any kinetic energy. Now question number 36. Now again a very crucial one. A weight hangs from a ring at the middle of a rope as the drawing shows. The person who is pulling on the right end of the rope can never make the rope perfectly horizontal, the first statement says. Second statement says the tension in the string is always equal to the force applied by the man on the string. So that's okay. By the force with which the man pulls the rope, that is the tension, so F exerted by the person is equal to the tension, that's okay. So statement 2 is right, and you still know, because here if I draw the FBD, that the tension from this side acts here, this side acts here, and its weight acts here. So it's pretty clear there must be some angles that these 2t sin theta must balance the W to hold it, and in that case you know sin theta cannot be 0. Sin theta cannot be 0, that means it will never be perfectly horizontal, so this is also correct. But the two reasons are not exactly the same. This is not the correct explanation, we can say, so I'll go with this one. And just remember, like I told you in the last one also, in this particular case, if the angle is very small, which generally happens, the value of the tension that is exerted is much greater than the weight. That means you have to pull it with a much larger force. You have to apply a force which is much greater than W to keep it in equilibrium like this. Now this is a very beautiful question involving the vectors use. You have 5 persons A, B, C, D, E pulling a cart of mass 100 kg on a smooth surface, and cart is moving with acceleration 3 meter per second square in each direction. देखिए इसका मतलब क्या है, जब पांचों मिलके इस पर चढ़ाई कर रहे थे तो पांचों का मिलके जो फोर्स लगता है A प्लस B प्लस C प्लस D प्लस E, वो नेट फोर्स था और उसकी वैल्यू 3 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर ईस्ट 100 kg, तो लेट्स से इसको 300 आई कैप बोल दूँ, टेकिंग एक्स एक्सिस अलोंग प्लस एक्स एक्सिस अलोंग ईस्ट, सो दैट इज 300 आई कैप न्यूटन. नाउ पर्सन ए ने जब विड्रॉ मार लिया तो एक्सेलरेशन 1 आ गया वेस्ट में, इसका मतलब B प्लस C प्लस D प्लस E, इन चारों का जो टोटल है ये मिलके 100 वेस्ट में, मतलब कितना, सॉरी 1 इंटू 100 इंटू माइनस आई कैप, वेस्ट विल बी माइनस आई कैप. नाउ अब जब पर्सन बी ने बंद किया तो एक्सेलरेशन 24 आया, तो बी हट जाएगा, मतलब ए सी डी ई लग रहे हैं, तो ए प्लस सी प्लस डी प्लस ई ये मिलके 24 इन नॉर्थ, दैट इज 2400, लेट से नॉर्थ को ले लिया मैंने प्लस जे कैप फाई एक्सेस के अलोंग, सो दैट इज प्लस जे कैप न्यूटन. अब ये कह रहा है भाई क्या होगा यदि केवल ए और बी ही एक्सेलरेट करें, केवल ए और बी ही फोर्स लगाएं, तो भैया केवल ए और बी ही अगर फोर्स यहाँ पर लगाएंगे तो उसका बढ़िया तरीका क्या है, आप यहाँ पे क्या करो, केवल ए और बी को ही लगाना है तो बेस्ट है इसको 2 से मल्टीप्लाई करो और इन दोनों इक्वेशंस को सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दीजिए. तो आप देखोगे यहाँ पे क्या होगा, एफ सी एफ डी एफ ई सब कैंसिल होंगे, बस एफ ए और एफ बी ही बचेगा. इसको अगर आप सिंप्लीफाई करोगे तो केवल ए और बी बचेगा, और इसको सिंप्लीफाई करोगे तो 600 प्लस 100 700 आई कैप माइनस 2400 जे कैप आ जाएगा. तो ये नेट फोर्स है और ये मास टाइम्स एक्सेलरेशन होगा, दैट इज 100 टाइम्स एक्सेलरेशन. सो एक्सेलरेशन वुड बी 7i cap minus 24j cap. So magnitude of the acceleration in this case would be 7 square plus 24 square, that you remember this is 49 plus 576, and this comes out as 625, which is a perfect square, that is 25 meter per second square. So we can go for this. You can do it by one or two अलग different ways. आप a की वैल्यू अलग निकाल लें, b की अलग निकाल लें, फिर कर लें, तो किसी भी तरीके से कर सकते हैं, बट इट्स अ गुड क्वेश्चन. नेक्स्ट, अगेन ये बहुत ही स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है, ये एक दो बच्चों ने पूछा है अभी, क्योंकि मोस्टली को तो वैसे भी ध्यान है. भाई एक ब्लॉक को एक इंक्लाइन पे रखा है जिसका एंगल अल्फा है. व्हाट एक्सेलरेशन शुड बी इम्पार्टेड टू द वेज इन हॉरिजॉन्टल डायरेक्शन सो दैट ए फॉल्स फ्रीली. सो ए फॉल्स फ्रीली, दैट मीन्स द नॉर्मल शुड बिकम जीरो. Normal should become zero, then only it can fall freely. So for normal to become zero, what we need to remember, if normal has to become zero, let's say it is falling freely, that means it is falling horizontally. So with respect to that, it should have an acceleration horizontal and vertical as well. So better we view it in frame of let's say wedge. So first of all, आप ऐसा सोच के देखिए wedge को किधर लेके जाएं. अगर wedge को मैं आगे एक्सेलरेट करूंगा तब तो जो सूडो फोर्स उसके फ्रेम में लगेगा वो पीछे लगेगा, वो नॉर्मल को कम करने की जगह उल्टा बढ़ा देगा, तो ये काम तो नहीं हो सकता. इसका अंदर इसको एक्सेलरेट किधर करना है, इस तरफ. इस केस में इस पे सूडो फोर्स लगेगा ma0 और ये लगेगा आपका mg, और अपन कह रहे हैं नॉर्मल यहाँ पे जीरो हो जाना चाहिए. इसका मतलब अब यहाँ पे अगर आप सिंप्लीफाई करके देखोगे, इसका मतलब क्लियर कट आपके लिए क्या होना चाहिए कि इसके फ्रेम में मुझे पता है कि इसके फ्रेम में भाई अगर ये जाता तो केवल ऐसे ही जाता, नॉर्मल जस्ट जीरो हो रहा है, इसका मतलब नॉर्मल की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ रही. तो इस डायरेक्शन में mg का ये जो कॉम्पोनेंट आता है और ma0 का जो कंपोनेंट आएगा, दोनों एक दूसरे को बैलेंस अप कर लेंगे. दोनों एक दूसरे को बैलेंस करेंगे तो आपको पता है ये एंगल अल्फा होता है, ये एंगल भी अल्फा होता है. तो ma का कंपोनेंट आएगा ma0 साइन अल्फा और ये वो बैलेंस करेगा mg कॉस अल्फा को. सो a0 की वैल्यू अपने आप कितनी निकल के आ रही है, g10 नहीं, सॉरी यहाँ पे आप करोगे दैट इज g कॉट ऑफ अल्फा. सो एक्सेलरेशन की वैल्यू g कॉट अल्फा ही यहाँ पर केवल एक फीजिबल ऑप्शन आपके लिए निकल के आएगा. नेक्स्ट देखिए, बड़ा प्यारा सा क्वेश्चन है. 3 एक जैसे डब्बे हैं हॉरिजॉन्टल सरफेस पे, हर का मास अलग अलग है, एक का m2 m3 m है. कोफिशिएंट ऑफ काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन सबका सेम है, तो म्यू के सबका सेम है. सो किसका एक्सेलरेशन ज़्यादा होगा, तो भाई अगर ये केवल चल रहे हैं और कोई फोर्स नहीं है तो आपको पता है FBD में एक तो नॉर्मल लगता है, एक mg लगता है और एक फ्रिक्शन लगेगा. सो एक्सेलरेशन होगा माइनस fk बाय m, और fk की वैल्यू आप लिखोगे माइनस म्यू के n बाय m, और n की वैल्यू खुद किस पे डिपेंड करेगी, मास पे. तो अपने आप जो भी मास होगा, अगर मास m है तो mg, नीचे भी m आएगा, मास 2m है तो 2m, जो भी होगा मास का फैक्टर कैंसिल होगा. तो एक्सेलरेशन सबके लिए म्यू के जी, इसका मतलब ग्रेटेस्ट किसी का नहीं होगा, ऑल विल हैव द सेम रिटार्डेशन, दैट वी कैन डू. नाउ अगेन इट इज़ अ वेरी नाइस क्वेश्चन. 2 गेंदों को एक बिल्डिंग की छत से आपने फेंका है, एक को सीधा नीचे फेंक दिया, एक को थोड़ा तिरछा फेंका है, दोनों की स्पीड सेम है. जब बॉल को फेंक दिया उसके बाद इनका एक्सेलरेशन क्या होगा. भाई देखो, जो भी आपने आड़ा तिरछा बाका जैसे ही फेंका, आफ्टर द बॉल्स आर रिलीज, क्वेश्चन को अच्छे से पढ़िए. जैसे ही गेंद को आपने छोड़ दिया, आप जादूगर नहीं हो, अब आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे, दोनों बॉल्स पे केवल ग्रेविटी लग रही है. दोनों बॉल्स किस में है, फ्री फॉल में. दोनों फ्री फॉल में है, मतलब दोनों का एक्सेलरेशन सेम रहेगा, जी डाउनवर्ड्स रहेगा, कोई उसमें चेंज नहीं आएगा. यहाँ मेरा मतलब है डेफिनेटली स्पीड वो किलोमीटर पर सेकंड की नहीं है कि अपन जी के वेरिएशन को देखें. तो उस केस में तो आप बोल सकते थे भाई कि बॉल 1 पास जा रही है तो जी की वैल्यू बढ़ रही है, 2 ऊपर जा रही है तो जी की वैल्यू कम हो रही है. तो ऐसा नहीं बोलेंगे, तो इसलिए सिंपली अपन बोलेंगे बोथ विल हैव द सेम एक्सेलरेशन बिकॉज बोथ आर इन फ्री फॉल टिल बोथ स्ट्राइक्स द ग्राउंड, बोथ विल हैव द सेम एक्सेलरेशन. नेक्स्ट वन, जब भी अपन कंजर्वेशन ऑफ लीनियर मोमेंटम लगाते हैं तो अपन कहते हैं कि आइसोलेटेड सिस्टम होता है, या दूसरे शब्दों में आप बोलते हो एक्सटर्नल फोर्स जीरो होनी चाहिए. एक्सटर्नल फोर्स जीरो है तभी मोमेंटम कंजर्व्ड होता है. तो देखिए, अब आपको बताइए कौन से में ये एप्लीकेबल होगा. एक गेंद को आपने छत से ड्रॉप किया है और सिस्टम में केवल बॉल ली है, तो बेटा बॉल पे अब जो mg लग रहा है वो सिस्टम के बाहर का फोर्स हो गया. तो ये आइसोलेटेड सिस्टम नहीं है. बॉल को ड्रॉप किया पर सिस्टम में बॉल और अर्थ दोनों ली, तो बॉल पे जो अर्थ का फोर्स है वही ग्रेविटी है, तो ये घर की बात हो गई, एक्सटर्नल फोर्स जीरो हो गया. तो यहाँ बॉल प्लस अर्थ सिस्टम का मोमेंटम कंजर्व्ड रहेगा, तो सेकंड तो आएगा. बिलियर्ड बॉल कोलाइड्स विद अ स्टेशनरी बिलियर्ड बॉल ऑन अ फ्रिक्शनलेस पूल टेबल सिस्टम इज द मूविंग बॉल. नो, दोनों बॉल्स लोगे तभी वो इंटरनल होगा, वरना ही एक्सटर्नल हो गया. कार स्लाइड्स टू अ हॉल्ट इन इमरजेंसी सिस्टम इज कार. नो, कार प्लस रोड लेना पड़ेगा क्योंकि केवल कार पे तो फ्रिक्शन का फोर्स लगेगा. A space probe is moving in deep space where gravitational and other forces are negligible. The system is the space probe. Yes, कोई ग्रेविटी नहीं है, कोई फोर्स नहीं है, तो स्पेस प्रोब एक्चुअली आइसोलेटेड है, कोई फोर्स नहीं लग रहा, तो ये चल सकता है. तो ओनली 2 and 5 आर आइसोलेटेड सिस्टम्स। तो अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, सोचना पड़ेगा। एक और ये क्वेश्चन, ये आपको कार के एयरबैग्स वगैरह सबसे रिलेटेड ये क्वेश्चन बनता है भाई, कि हाई जंपर ने जस्ट कूदा और उसके बाद वो गद्दे पे कूदता है, तो आपको पता है अगर वो सीधा ग्राउंड पे कूदता तो जल्दी स्टॉप करता, बट आप बताइए कि यहाँ पे मैट्रेस पे क्यों कूदता है। तो आपको पता है मैट्रेस में कुशनिंग होती है, मैट्रेस या एयर बैग वाले जो सिस्टम होते हैं ये क्या करते हैं, प्रोसेस को थोड़ा सा डिले कर देते हैं। भाई इनिशियल वेलोसिटी v थी, फाइनल वेलोसिटी 0 थी, तो डेल्टा p तो आपका दोनों केस में क्या होगा, सेम। मोमेंटम सेम बदलेगा तो इंपल्स दोनों केस में सेम लगेगी, तो ग्रेटर इंपल्स का तो ऑप्शन ही हट गया। तो इंपल्स सेम लगेगी, बट गद्दे में क्या होगा, गद्दे या एयर बैग में टाइम क्या होता है, टाइम बढ़ जाता है। टाइम बढ़ जाता है तो जो आपका फोर्स एवरेज लगता है डेल्टा p बाय डेल्टा t, डेल्टा p सेम है बट डेल्टा t अगर उसने बढ़ा दिया तो फोर्स कम हो जाएगा, तो स्मॉलर नेट फोर्स लगाता है देन द हार्ड ग्राउंड। तो वी विल गो फॉर ऑप्शन डी। तो ये आज के टेस्ट के कुछ क्वेश्चन थे। अगले संडे टेस्ट नहीं लेंगे दिवाली के पहले, अब अगला टेस्ट दिवाली के बाद वाले संडे पे होगा, जिसमें काइनेमैटिक्स से लेके रोटेशन तक का पूरा टॉपिक रहेगा। तो जो लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं बेटा आप लोग बता सकते हैं, प्लस आप चाहें तो इस टेस्ट सीरीज़ को भी आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। हर संडे टेस्ट होंगे, लगभग मान के चलिए टोटल मिला के 30 से ज़्यादा टेस्ट आपके जब तक नीट एग्ज़ाम नहीं होगा तब तक होंगे। तो अगर आप इसको ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं तो बहुत ही एक नॉमिनल फ़ीस पे आप इसे ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। फ़ीस ओनली ₹1500 अगर आप इसे ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं तो। थैंक यू।